Hello and welcome to Nightly Scroll. I'm Hayley Caronia. Just for the record, we're starting off the week right on time. So we got the show started on time all last week, every single day, Monday through Friday. And we're starting off this week well. And we think, well, this is our prediction that if we start well on Monday, that it's a good week. So starting off well, we'll see if we can keep it going. You might be watching on X or on Facebook right now, and that's great. We welcome all the views, right? But you need to come over to the Bongino Report channel on Rumble because we are sitting at an unfortunate 666,000 followers. And I would like to get off that number. I know a lot of people in the chat also feel that way. So send this link, send it to a friend, make them go to rumble.com/Hayley. Say, not only should you watch this show, you should follow it. And hopefully we can get off of that number. Also, shameless plug for social, at Hayley Caronia on most platforms. But what do we have on the show tonight? Well, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, she is launching a bid for Texas Senate. That is after Colin Allred dropped out, and he announced that he's running for a congressional seat in a newly drawn district. Just saying that in Texas, Trump beat Kamala by more than 1.5 million votes. So for Jasmine Crockett, I know she's got lofty goals for Texas. It is not as purple as you think, honey. You may have been able to snatch up your seat in a blue district, in a city, but on a larger scale, I think she'll have a much more difficult time getting support. So not getting too much into the Jasmine Crockett of it all. I feel like tomorrow maybe we'll do more of a deep dive of all of her, Jasmine-isms that we love to make fun of, her calling Texans deplorable and things like that. But I don't know. We'll see. But tonight, we are getting into squad member Ilhan Omar blaming the FBI for not catching these Somali fraudsters, instead blaming the fraudsters themselves for the fraud that they committed. So she's blaming the FBI, not the actual criminals, because that makes sense. That's Democrat logic for you. Also, Cinnabon has fired an employee after admitting on video that she is racist. But we're going to get into all the details that we know as of now, because the story goes deeper than that. Also, the Washington Post did a piece on Rosie O'Donnell and shed some light on her late-stage TDS. We hope that she gets well soon. And on that note, put your phones on Do Not Disturb. Nightly Scroll starts now. Treasury Department said that it is going to investigate those missing tax dollars from Minnesota's public assistance programs. They all started during the COVID-19 pandemic, and all of these taxpayer dollars were supposed to feed children during the pandemic. Democrats were shutting down businesses, shutting down schools. People were, scrounging for money. They couldn't go to work, couldn't go to school, all this stuff, right? So these government programs, they turned out to not actually benefit the public, and they were benefiting, Somalian immigrants. And this was happening in Minnesota right under Governor Tampon Tim, all under his nose. And we know this now. But now the Treasury Department is investigating how this money got from point A to point B and what happened when it got there. So where did this go, right? These Somali immigrants, turns out this money could have been making its way all the way to an Al-Qaeda affiliate, Al-Shabaab, in Somalia. So here is Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. He was on Face the Nation, and this is what he had to say about this stolen money. Watch.
That money has gone overseas, and we are tracking that both to the Middle East and to Somalia to see what the uses of that have been.
Okay, but you have no evidence of that money being used to fuel terrorism at this point, which is what some conservative writers are alleging.
That's why it's an investigation. We started it last week. We'll see where it goes. But I can tell you that, it's terrible. Representative Omar tried to downplay it, said, it was very, it was very tough to know how this money should be used. Yeah. She was gaslighting the American people.
Well, we'll talk to her.
Yeah, but when you come to this country, you got to learn which side of the road to drive on. You got to learn to stop at stop signs, and you got to learn not to defraud the American people.
Right. not defrauding the American people is apparently a really tall order for these Somalians. And Scott Bessent was saying that, Omar is gaslighting the American people. She also joined Face the Nation, and this is what she had to say. She's not blaming the fraudsters necessarily, but she is blaming the FBI. Watch this.
The head of Medicare and Medicaid say they're going to have a new policy that applies to Minnesota. You heard the Treasury Secretary say they're investigating. But there's another thread here because House Republicans and the Treasury Secretary just now talked about a link to terrorism, a possible link. He said they're just now beginning to look into it. How confident are you that that's a false claim?
I'm pretty confident at the moment because there are people who have been prosecuted and who have been sentenced. If there was a linkage in that the money that they had stolen going to terrorism, then that is a failure of the FBI and our court system in not figuring that out and basically charging them with these charges.
But they are.
And so I do know that for many years, this sort of like alarm that there is money being transferred through the airport in bags and going to terrorism that accusation has always existed. There's never been here and there in those accusations. But if that is the case, if money from U.S. tax dollars is being sent to help with terrorism in Somalia, we want to know.
Yeah.
And we want those people prosecuted. And we want to make sure that that doesn't ever happen again.
Okay, well, we can agree on that last part. If there is American tax dollars going to fund Somalian terrorism, we do want to know that. So I guess we agree on that front. But earlier in the clip, she's blaming this on, she's saying that it's an FBI failure that this fraud was even able to occur. And she's saying that, these people need to be charged. Well, they are being charged. So I guess law enforcement is doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. But, she's trying to blame law enforcement for preventing this from happening. Again, she's trying to take the blame off of the Somalians. And the FBI, I was reading a CBS article earlier about how even during the Biden administration, federal prosecutors in Minnesota were filing charges on this. So they have been on this case. It's not like they were letting this go. I mean, clearly they identified that this was a problem. It was ongoing. And this is kind of coming to light more now, but they've been on the case. And again, it is not the fault of law enforcement. It is the fault of the fraudsters. But again, this is an opportunity for Ilhan Omar to place the blame on anyone but the Somali immigrants. Here she is discussing Stephen Miller's argument that assimilation is key. Watch.
I want to ask you about something else that the architect of the president's immigration policy, Stephen Miller, said. On Thanksgiving Day, he posted, "No magic transformation occurs when failed states cross borders. At scale, migrants and their descendants recreate the conditions and terrors of their broken homelands." What do you make of this argument of failure to assimilate and sort of ruining America? How do you understand this?
I mean, when I think about Stephen Miller and his white supremacist rhetoric, it reminds me of the way the Nazis described Jewish people in Germany. And as we know, there have been many immigrants who have tried to come to the United States who've turned back, one of them being Jewish immigrants. We know the way that people were described who were coming from Ireland, Irish immigrants. We know the way in which people were described back then when they were Italian immigrants. And to me, we're, yes, of course, ethnically Somali. We are in this country as Americans.
Yeah.
We are citizens. We are productive part of this nation, and we will continue to be.
I'm really tired of the Nazi thing. I'm really tired of it. Especially, it seems like Stephen Miller is the left's new favorite boogeyman. They are obsessed with calling him a white supremacist. They are obsessed with calling him a Nazi because he's part of Trump's administration. And if Trump is Hitler, then therefore everyone who works for him is a Nazi. That's just like their logic. And Stephen Miller is Jewish. So again, they're just attaching this label to anyone and anything. And it makes no sense. But calling someone a Nazi, it's like their new hyperfixation vocal stim. They're just like obsessed with calling everyone a Nazi, whether it's true or not. And being pro-immigration plus assimilation doesn't make you a Nazi. It makes you a sane human being. Asking immigrants to come here legally and then be productive members of an American society is not racist. But liberals think that the criticism of Somalis who defrauded our system, not just Somalis in general, Somalis who defrauded our system and stole $1 billion in American payer dollars, and then sent it overseas. That criticism, liberals think is unjust, and it is impacting the Somalian community so much so that now liberals who are in 24/7 protest mode, they are in they're just like, how can I virtue signal next? So now liberals are showing up to Somalian restaurants. We already showed you, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, like choking down Somalian food just for the photo op. So now liberals are showing up to Somalian restaurants. They're eating the food to show support. Watch this.
Something beautiful happened in our community today. It started with an invitation for a few friends to join me for lunch, to support our Somali community, support our businesses, and write a few notes of encouragement. But people just kept coming in the door. Friends had invited friends, and before we knew it, the restaurant was filled from front to back. Hundreds of notes were written and delivered to all of our local businesses today. We love you, Wilmer. Thank you for your support.
Just like really great. No, she does not sound excited. She sounds depressed, and the vocal fry is grating. Just really, really grating. So yeah, she does this video and she is saying how excited she is to see all this support. But now we know that the money is not going back into the community. So you're not even really supporting local. You're supporting Somalia, which I think liberals would probably be okay with. But I just looked up some of the stats on where the money that Somalian immigrants goes and how much of it actually is. Like, here's the numbers. In 2023 alone, Somalis abroad, so not just in the United States, but Somalis who don't live in Somalia, they sent home $1.7 billion. $1.7 billion. That is more than the Somali government's budget and the $1.1 billion in funding that Somalia receives from international aid. So again, they are going to the United States, they're going wherever else, they're making money, and they're putting it into the pockets of their family members who live in Somalia. And this isn't just Somalian immigrants, this is a lot of immigrants do this. But this notion that they're coming here for a better life, they're coming here to, integrate into our society, and they're proud Americans, it's just not really reality. We're seeing that these people do have an allegiance to their home countries, which I can understand. I mean, you live somewhere your whole life, you leave. I mean, obviously you have a tie. You probably have family there, friends there, whatever. I get it. But they don't just cut ties in that they come here, they build a life here, they're growing their communities here. Their first priority is growing their communities back home and making money for people back home. They're not really becoming productive members of American society in the way that Ilhan Omar is trying to sell to people on whatever network that was, whatever Sunday show she was on. But I was joking about, Jacob Frey, the Minneapolis mayor, choking down the whatever Somalian slop that he was eating, just like as a photo op. And then I saw this meme on X and it just cracked me up. Because someone said, we already know that Ben & Jerry's, which is totally woke, they're going to come up with some way to virtue signal to the Somali community or whatever. And then someone replied with this meme, and it's Ben & Jerry's, and it's called Somali Surprise. That's the new flavor. And it's not even really ice cream that's coming out of the container. I'm not really sure what it is, but it looks like, I don't know, like brown brains or something. I don't know.
Old coffee.
Old coffee? Why would coffee look like that?
Well, that's my best guess. You
It
got
kind of
another
looks
guess?
like, it looks like dry brownies, like really, really dry, overcooked brownies a little bit. But anyway, Jacob Frey is on the, he's on the like container, and it's just the screenshot of him from that video choking down the food. Like, yeah, it's so good. It's so good. Anyway. But now it is obviously the left's mission to use this Somali fraud scheme story as a way to paint Republicans as racist, which they do all the time. But this video of Vice President Vance is resurfaced where he's talking about Americans wanting to understand their neighbors. So watch this.
Who's out of the house is actually evicted from the house because there are people who are going to pay more for rent. And then what happens is 20 people move into a 3-bedroom house. 20 people from a totally different culture, totally different ways of interacting. Again, we can respect their dignity while also being angry at the Biden administration for letting that situation happen and recognizing that their next door neighbors are going to say, well, wait a second, what is going on here? I don't know these people. They don't speak the same language that I do. And because there are 20 in the house next door, it's a little bit rowdier than it was when there was just a family of 4, a family of 5. It is totally reasonable and acceptable for American citizens to look at their next door neighbors and say, I want to live next to people who I have something in common with. I don't want to live next to 4 families of strangers.
So leftists were saying, oh, this just proves that Republicans are racist because, J.D. Vance only wants people in America to speak English and whatever, which that is the language that the majority of America speaks. Obviously, you can speak whatever you want, but, I don't travel abroad and expect everyone to speak English, although they do. But I wouldn't expect people who live in another country to be able to communicate with me. If I were to move there, that would be on me to learn the language of that country. But people reverse that. They come here and then they expect all of us to just like bend the knee and, let them, live their lives and speak whatever language and like not attempt to try to be American. So J.D. Vance took to X and was clarifying, saying, it's not that I don't think that people should not speak English. This is dishonest because it's reasonable to want to share a language with your neighbor. And then he said on X, how do you borrow a cup of sugar? Resolve disagreements. Have a nice conversation. You need a common language, and in America, that language is English. The far left became so deranged on immigration that they're attacking people for want to be able to speak to their neighbors. And again, this is not racist. The left calls it racist. That doesn't make it so. And it's not even just the far left. It is rhinos too. So here is Republican Utah Senator John Curtis saying that it should be our priority to make immigrants feel welcome here. Watch.
I think all of us need to wake up every morning, look in the mirror and say, what are we doing? What am I doing specifically today to make this country a better country, to make all of our immigrants feel more welcome? That's what we've always had. And I think if more of us would do that, it would matter less what individual said.
Right. But as you know, he's not just an individual. He's the president of the United States calling an entire community garbage.
Again, this is leftist media trying to just catch Republicans. And I think Senator Curtis was just caught off guard. And I think a lot of these rhinos are more afraid of being called racist. Like, I think to them, they're like, oh no, what can I say on this mainstream media platform to just like, look like I'm willing to come to the other side and whatever. Post-Trump, MAGA, America First, I don't see Republicans like John Curtis staying in office for very long. You have to not give an F what the mainstream media is trying to do, trying to paint you as, trying to call you, what names they're trying to call you, and what trap they're trying to get you in. The first thing that we should do as Americans is wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, and think, how can we welcome immigrants? No. Should we be kind and welcoming to legal immigrants? Yeah. Should we also have a standard that those immigrants should assimilate, respect our culture, not rape and kill innocent civilians, not steal $1 billion in taxpayer dollars and send them overseas? Yes. Also, yes. So again, CNN is trying to get him on this topic, right? Well, President Trump is calling all these people garbage. And he's thinking, like, now Senator what's-his-face is like trying to do like Trump recon. Like, he's trying to apologize for what Trump said. No, do not apologize. Do not apologize. Our attitude shouldn't just be, yeah, let's welcome foreigners with no regard for the law. You have to assimilate. And if you don't want to assimilate, don't come. That should be the message. If you hate American culture, don't come. If you want to live here and then live out your Bonnie and Clyde dreams and you want to rape and kill people, don't come. If you want to come here and make money and then just send it back to where you came from, don't come. I think that is a easy ask. That is a reasonable ask, in my opinion. Now, a lot of this, you know, the Trump's garbage comments and this whole fraud scheme, now, you know, this divide between immigrant and illegal immigrant and American citizen is just becoming a little more top of mind for people. And this video recently went viral of a Cinnabon employee. Her name is Crystal Wilsey. And she went viral because of this. Watch.
Sexualizing your body makes you a better person.
Are you recording?
I'm gonna record you. Yes.
Do you want me to throw water on you? I am racist.
So idiot for
and
real.
You are an
idiot. No,
I
I'm
am
not.
racist, and I'll say that to the whole entire world. Don't be disrespectful.
You ruined your life, by the way.
Oh, talking about you talking about respect? You talking about respect? You are fired from this place, man. You're not gonna be working here. Suck what? Look how you talking about ugliness?
Did I stutter?
You're the ugliest person I ever seen in my life.
Good.
No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not.
Because you know damn well you're a
That's
fucking
respect.
evil fuck.
That's respect. Keep squeezing that caramel, bitch. Get the fuck out of here.
That was not for you.
All right. Now, do we know all the details of what happened here? No, we don't. But in the beginning of the video, you can hear the guy saying sexualizing your body makes you a better person. And that's where the video starts. So let me just say, it is these damn phones. Everyone has their phone out at all times. Everyone wants to go viral. Everyone's a Karen. Everyone wants to go complain in a Facebook group. Everyone wants to catch someone doing something wrong and then cancel them. It is really exhausting. Every time someone fills something and it goes viral, everyone's talking about it, I am wary of this situation because we don't know what led up to the phone getting turned on, the video starting, like what happened first. But the first thing that I see in this video is this person. And again, people on social media are saying, oh, it's a Somali immigrant. I don't know whether that's true or not, but okay, so there's a person trying to order from Cinnabon, and the first thing in the video that I see is him saying to this woman, you're trying to sexualize your body or something. And from the video, from what I can see, she's fully clothed. The only thing that's out are her wrists and her hair. So I think people, and maybe it is well known that it's, I don't know, if you could look it up or if someone could look it up, I don't know if we know for sure that it was a Somali immigrant, because when I was looking into it earlier on TikTok, my app wasn't working. So then anyway, so I don't know, but we don't know what led up to the situation. But the first thing that I see is this guy saying, you are sexualizing your body. Her hair is out and her arms are out. So we can assume that this person, and I've seen on social media, oh, well, before that, they made she made a comment about their hijab or whatever. I don't know. The video only goes one way. I don't know what's happening on the other side. I don't know who these people are, but most interactions start nice and then people only start filming once it's gone south, or they start filming because they're planning on instigating something, because they want to get someone, they want to cancel someone, they want to see someone get fired, or they want to go viral. There's like an ulterior motive. So based on this video, Cinnabon fires Crystal. They said this on X. We've been seeing the disturbing video from the Cinnabon bakery in Ashwaubenon, probably saying that wrong, Wisconsin. And we do not condone this behavior. The former employee was immediately terminated by the franchise owner. Their actions do not reflect our values or the welcoming experience every guest deserves. Now, I will say, she is flipping the bird at customers. So whether or not like who started it, I would say Cinnabon is justified in firing her, because whatever happened to get to this point, it escalated beyond, like, both of these people are in the wrong, in my opinion. I think again, I don't know who started what or what happened, but based on this video, both of these people are annoying as fuck. So anyway, this woman gets fired. Now, based on this video, and part of this video went viral, and then like the longer part went viral after that, where this person is saying like, oh, basically like calling her a whore. So again, part of the conversation goes viral, then the bigger video. If there's a longer video out there somewhere, I haven't seen it, but I'm assuming that there's way more to this story that we'll probably never find out. Somali immigrant. Okay. So based on the New York Post, so Somali immigrants in Wisconsin. Okay. So we have that based on the New York Post. But yeah, it's just, she gets fired. Now, a Give, Send, Go gets set up for her. When I checked earlier, there was like $54,000 raised. The goal is over $100,000, which is nice and all. But this woman now doesn't have a job. Her face and name are everywhere based on this video, based on her actions in the video. Whether or not she started it, they started it, whatever, she's going to have a difficult time getting hired somewhere else. I could assume that, you know, she's getting support online today, but someday very soon she is going to be yesterday's news. So the Give, Send, Go money dries up, and then what? She's going to need to get a job. Then her name is everywhere. This is why I hate these phones. And I hate when people use them to cancel each other. It's just like disgusting behavior, especially the whole situation is avoidable. Hi, this just plays into my golden rule, sit down and shut up. In the same vein, just be polite. You don't have to agree politically. You don't have to have the same religion. You don't have to, whatever. Hi, I'd like what does Cinnabon sell? Cinnamon buns?
Oh,
I assume.
Yeah, cinnamon rolls.
Some dessert. Hi, I'd like dessert. Yes, please, coming right up. That'll be $6.
About $14.99.
Okay, thank you. It'll be right out. Okay, bye. Why can't every situation just be like that? Like, what do you mean? Like, how does this turn into something where it's like a whole debacle, a viral thing? Like, why are our phones out? Like, just order the damn thing, serve your customers. Like, what the heck is going on? Anyway, again, I cannot independently confirm this, but Abby Libby posted these on X. And by the time this has all gone viral, this woman has deleted her Facebook or locked it up to the point where, like, I can't confirm any of this. But apparently, she says, your Cinnabon racist white hero lady voted for Kamala and abortion. So again, if you went to donate to her Give, Send, Go, she might just be a racist liberal, you know? Like, maybe you're not supporting the person that you thought you were. Anyway, she has these two signs in the front yard, or she posted pictures, allegedly, that say, women's choice is on the ballot, vote Democrat, and then a Biden-Harris sign, which is super embarrassing on top of the video that went viral. Then this other one, and I tried looking up her criminal record. I could not find it, so I cannot personally independently confirm it. But apparently, she was arrested for child endangerment, the child endangerment of 3 people, 3 children, and potentially some DUI. So, I don't know. You know when people say don't meet your heroes? I would say pump the brakes before you donate on Give, Send, Go or GoFundMe. Just wait for the whole story to come out, because I would say we don't know the full story as of now, and we're probably going to find out more details later in the week. So stay tuned for that. I'm sure we'll get some updates, and I will be sure to bring them to you. Taking a quick break to tell you about our sponsors for tonight's show, Genucel. Ladies and gentlemen, what will be your holiday gift this year? How about looking years, even decades younger in minutes thanks to Genucel. During the Genucel Christmas and holiday sale, save over 70% off of their complete skincare package featuring Gen 90 to help visibly reduce the appearance of fine line, wrinkles, and under eye bags, even the laugh lines around the mouth. Say goodbye to those wrinkles and eye bags and give away your age, and then you can get compliments this holiday season. And when you order today, Genucel will include their top-selling Genucel Deep Firming Vitamin C Serum and Genucel XV Anti-Aging Moisturizer in your complete collection package. Treat yourself this holiday with 10 years off your appearance. Everyone will see the difference, guaranteed, or 100% of your money back. That is the Genucel promise. Go to Genucel.com/scroll, Genucel.com/scroll, and shipping is also free. Use my code at checkout scroll for an extra 10% off. Genucel.com/scroll, Genucel.com/scroll. Also want to tell you about Bond Charge. Are you looking for a natural way to rejuvenate your skin and boost your wellness? Meet Bond Charge, a holistic wellness brand with products designed to help optimize your life. My favorite is the Bond Charge Red Light Face Mask. I've started using it after noticing breakouts, fine lines. It makes a huge difference. It helps with acne, wrinkles, eczema, migraines, jaw soreness, razor burn. This is for men and women. My mom was visiting this weekend and I had my Bond Charge Red Light Face Mask out and she was like, "Can I try this?" And I said, "Yeah." And now she wants to buy one. So again, she loved her experience. I've been loving my experience. It is lightweight. It doesn't get hot. It combines both near infrared and red light to help boost collagen and elastin production. My skin is clearer, smoother, and glowing. I feel confident. Bond Charge ships worldwide, offers free returns, easy returns, and their products are HSA, FSA eligible. It is currently the Bond Charge holiday sale, so you can get up to a massive 25% off. Just head to bondcharge.com and 25% off code will be automatically added to your order. The sale will end on the 31st of December, so hurry and don't miss this massive chance to save big on your favorite Bond Charge products. These statements and products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition. All right. The left likes to hone in on all of the downsides of the Trump administration's law enforcement efforts, especially the ones that pertain to immigration. But here is something the left would never want to admit. We know that the Biden administration let in millions of illegal aliens. We also know that many of the so-called asylum seekers used Mexican drug cartels to get them over here. Biden's open border was a recipe for disaster, as in human trafficking and missing children. And, AOC went to the border, she's crying at the gate, like all these photo ops. This is a party that decries the broken families, separated children. That party seemingly didn't care too much that there were hundreds of thousands of unaccompanied children that had gone missing after getting to the United States under the Biden administration. But Border Czar Tom Homan has some good news. Watch this.
I look at the numbers every day. On Friday, I looked at the numbers. There's over 62,000 children found by the Trump administration. Children that weren't even being looked for under the Biden administration. President Trump saved over 62,000 children's lives. Some of these children were in sex trafficking, we found them. Some were in forced labor. Some were being mistreated. I can't even discuss some of the mistreatment we found out about. President Trump, again, proves why he's the greatest president in my lifetime. Over 62,000 children rescued by President Trump. Again, children that were ignored and weren't being looked for under President Biden.
So to be exact, 62,400 children have been found. That's wild. The fact that there are hundreds of thousands more that haven't been found yet, that breaks my heart. And you could see Tom Homan was having a very difficult time recalling what those children that have been found went through. So I can only imagine the ones that are still living in this nightmare. They were, allowed into the United States under the Biden administration, and they literally entered into hell. I could not imagine the children that are, I don't want to imagine what they've been through. Sold into sex slavery, human trafficking. Like, who knows? I hate to think about it, but I think there were almost 300,000, if not more, that went missing under the Biden administration. a lot of them are probably not alive. I mean, the Trump administration has found 62,400. That's wonderful. And thank goodness. But it just pains me to think of all the children that might not be found, or they might not be found alive. And that blood is on the Biden administration's hands. So not only were 62,400 children found under the Trump administration, there have been 579,000 removals. And all in all, this includes people who have self-deported. There have been 2.2 million total departures of illegal aliens under the Trump administration. That's a lot in less than a year. They are moving, this administration. They are moving. But there's still a lot of work to do. And for the illegal aliens that are still here, that were given commercial driver's licenses in blue states, Alabama is leading the charge to crack down on those illegal immigrant truck drivers. Watch this.
Multiple fatal truck crashes led the U.S. Department of Transportation to promise a crackdown on issuing commercial driver's licenses, or CDLs. One of those deadly crashes happened in Thomasville over the summer. A Ukrainian-born truck driver ran a red light. He crashed into several cars, killing 2 people. He was in the U.S. on a visa and had a valid license, but he does not speak English. English proficiency is required for a CDL. Alabama joining in on the crackdown. Governor Kay Ivey announcing a partnership between ALEA and ICE. They're targeting major interstate corridors where truck traffic is heavy. Governor Ivey says troopers referred 242 people to ICE during 2 operations over the past 2 months. Of those, 82 drivers were detained based on their immigration status, and 12 of those did not even have a driver's license of any kind.
When I talk to truck drivers and professional drivers and small business owners, they're frustrated because they're in a tough economy. On one side, they get attacked by lawyers and frivolous lawsuits, and on another, unfair competition for people who break the rules and don't operate fairly and unsafely.
82 illegal alien truck drivers found in Alabama alone. 82 in Alabama alone. And I've said this before on the show, you cannot move to a red state and escape it. It's permeated every single state in this country thanks to the Biden administration. Thank a Democrat. Thank a sanctuary state Democrat. 82 illegal alien truck drivers just in Alabama that were found so far. 82, that's a lot. Think of how many are in New York, California, wherever else. And we know that in these sanctuary states, they're giving driver's licenses to illegal aliens. Not only that, they're allowed to have these commercial driver's licenses. Then in New York, they're giving driver's licenses that have no name on it. No name given is literally the name listed on the driver's license. But in Alabama, in this takedown that they've been carrying out, they found 12 of them that didn't have a driver's license at all. Who hired them? Like, it just makes you think of, like, how does this happen? Because we know that Democrats are handing them out like candy. Who is hiring illegal aliens that don't have a driver's license to drive trucks? It's crazy. It's totally insane. And I will say, after covering this stuff, and I'm hearing all these stories of truck drivers that don't read English, they can't understand English, they don't speak it, they can't read the road signs, and I know that the Trump administration is doing what they can to eliminate these drivers from the roads. But now, as a driver that has taken 10 years off, and then I came to Florida and now I'm driving again. I never liked driving next to a big truck on the highway. I never like it. I hate, like, when you're stuck in between 2 of them, it's like, Now I'm thinking, does this person even know what's going on? Like, can they even read the road signs? Like, now I have this extra layer of fear where it's like, you don't know who's driving next to you. You just don't. No one's safe. And like I said, you can't move to a red state and escape it. There is no escape. So that's awesome. Moving now to Democrats' obsession with race. They talk about it every chance they get, which made me realize that the only time I ever talk about race is when I am reacting to a liberal talking about race on this show. Otherwise, it does not occur to me until I hear something like this on CNN. Watch.
You should believe what he says? No, maybe he put a bomb at the DNC because he believed the Democrats stole the election because Republicans and conspiracy theorists pushed that, and he put the bomb at the RNC because the vice president who was about to be sworn in was going to ride by that area. There are many scenarios that the prosecution will have to play out this case. But I'm gonna say the thing out loud that I think everyone is not saying and is actually surprised, and why I think Janine Pirro is actually saying it. I think the fact that this man is a black man is surprising to people. I think people thought this was going to be a white man that did this. They were going to be able to say he was a part of the progressive left. And the fact that it's a black man that is saying, I too was susceptible to conspiracy theorists that the president and conservative podcasters were pushing that this election was stolen is a fact that they were not expecting, and now everyone is on their heels and they're trying to spin it. And I think that might be also why you think, let's not believe his actual story right now. Like he's trying to get both sides.
Possible. I mean,
has CNN not learned their lesson? You know, we covered this last week, but Aaron Burnett said that the shooter in New York City that took out people in the NFL headquarters was possibly white, even though he was black. Jake Tapper also reported that the January 6th pipe bomber was white, said that he was a white man, even though he is not. They haven't learned their lesson. So they're covering this January 6th pipe bomb suspect, and now that they've totally shit the bed with Jake Tapper saying this guy's white when he's not, then they have these panels. And I don't understand, like, you can have an opinion, right? Like, opinion panels, this makes sense. But we have the facts, and then we have things that we don't know yet. And you can speculate. But what she is doing is just race baiting for no reason. The guy's black. So that's the fact. Then now she's just like spinning and spinning, trying to like justify, well, maybe he was a conspiracy theorist and maybe this. What is she getting at? Is she trying to say that black people can't attempt to kill people? Is she like, she was like, everyone was just so convinced that he was a white guy. Like now, like everyone's just so shocked that he's black. Can black people not be radicalized politically? Did black people not commit crimes? Like, why couldn't he have been black? This isn't, you know, like, it's just crazy. Like, is this not a black crime in her opinion? Like, clearly it is, because clearly he's black. Like, it's just, I don't understand. And I would pay money to be on one of these CNN panels just so that I can ask, what do you mean by that? When some dumb liberal makes a dumb comment, someone on the panel needs to press them and say, whoa, that's a crazy thing that you just said. What do you mean by that? Can you explain yourself? Can you show receipts? Can you show your work? Like, how did you get to that? What did you mean by that? I would just pay money to have someone ask, what did you mean by that? And then have them defend that stance. No one does that. And then she's saying, you know, everyone thought, like, you know, everyone just thought that he was white. I didn't. I didn't even think about the January 6th pipe bomber's skin color once. I did not think about it. I didn't predict the suspected January 6th pipe bomber's skin color at all. I just thought, like, I hope we catch this guy, whoever it is, or girl, whoever it is. Never once was like, I hope it's a white guy, or I bet it's a black guy, or what? Like, what? Who cares? All these CNN commentaries think about is race. It is just nonstop. This is all they think about. It's nonstop. Also, Joy Reid is a big race baiter. She's got her own podcast now. She's not on MSNBC. That show got canceled, of course. But here she is talking about the United States and how racist and horrible this country is. Watch.
So, this nation was founded by killers who slaughtered 90% of the indigenous people. Leeches who glommed off of the indigenous who taught them how to survive in the wilderness and then murdered them as their things and then took all their land. And you want to talk about entitlement, they felt entitled to own other people and they didn't even want to pay taxes on it. So they decided to have a whole war with Britain. Okay, so
again, an obsession about race in general, but certainly now, since 2020, there has been this obsession with like anti-colonialism and stolen land. This is where the whole Christopher Columbus Day Thanksgiving debate comes in, where liberals just, they want to tear down all the Christopher Columbus statues. They want to tear down anything that had to do with anyone white who did something bad. They just want to erase history. And especially when it comes to Thanksgiving, a lot of them are saying, well, how can we celebrate this? It's horrible. We took the Native Americans' land, all this stuff, right? So this topic of stolen land comes up a lot. And it begs the question, then why are Democrats so pro-immigration and illegal immigration? Why would they want minorities to live in a country that is so racist and horrible? If it is so racist and horrible, why does Joy Reid even live here? And I would urge her, go find a country that hasn't done something bad in its history. Go find a country that doesn't have slavery, that didn't steal land, that did, like, for real. Go find one, Joy. You won't be able to, and you're still going to live here because this is the best country of all time. But then like, these Democrats, they advocate for minorities and illegal aliens to come here and move here and live here and work here. Why wouldn't they encourage them to live somewhere else or stay where they came from so that they don't come and live on stolen land and they're not a part of this mess? Makes you think. Anyway, the Washington Post did a piece on Rosie O'Donnell, who did get up and leave. To her credit, a lot of these celebrities, they just said, well, if Trump gets elected, I'm not going to stay here anymore. Rosie O'Donnell did get up and move to Ireland. So the Washington Post, of course, did a nice little puff piece on her, quote, life in exile. Her life in exile in Ireland that she decided to do herself. Like, she decided to pick up and move to Ireland. Does self-exile even exist? Can you self-exile yourself? She has not been exiled anywhere. Anyway, I have to read you some of this because it is just totally absurd. So here's a quote. People said, why didn't you go to Italy or France? She said, because I'm Irish, so I went to Ireland. The truth is, O'Donnell had no idea what it would be like to live on the Emerald Isle, an exile from the land of her birth, the locus of her fame. Then she says, of course, or in this piece, of course, there are a lot of good reasons for a fabulously wealthy person to live in Europe. And for some of them, self-imposed exile, that's like not real, is an affordable luxury in service to their genuine political views and concerns. Most, in other words, don't have O'Donnell's uniquely personal history with the president or the sense of urgency it spurred for her. So the Washington Post does this piece with Rosie O'Donnell. She has convinced herself and everyone else that the beef with her and Donald Trump was just so bad. Like she feared for her life to live under his reign in the United States of America. She had no choice but to leave, although she created this in her head. Now, in this piece, they try to make Trump out to be some like total loser degenerate that was just like going after Rosie O'Donnell her whole career. And like, yes, they had beef, but they tried to make Trump look like a total loser, even though he was the star of The Apprentice and all that. And then it was Rosie O'Donnell's TV career that took off and Trump is just this loser that didn't do anything. So that is like the piece. And then they say this. O'Donnell's hard-to-slot talents found their medium in daylight talk shows. First with her syndicated Rosie O'Donnell show, where she specialized in Broadway belters, cute kids, charity fundraising, former teen idols, and a generalized niceness. Her more caustic side reemerged in 2006 during the first two stints of the juicy ratings on ABC's The View, when she was on The View, where she took on the George W. Bush administration, the firearm industry, the Catholic Church, and her conservative co-hosts, and Trump, who by then had bought into the beauty pageant business. So she's made her career on being anti-Catholic, and she moved to a majority Catholic country. And it's 69% Catholic. Now, she claimed to make her career off of being anti-Catholic and she didn't move to any other country. She didn't move to Ireland. She didn't move to Italy. She didn't move to France. She chose to move to Ireland because that's where her family is from. Okay. So that was the only reason. She wanted to get away from Trump, and she had family there. But again, she's apparently built her career on hating the Catholic Church, moves to a Catholic country. Okay. Then they're talking about, her decades-long beef with President Trump. And here's what they say. 2 decades later, he's in the White House, and she's on the far side of an ocean, yet he still can't get her name out of his mouth. Okay, except Trump is not in therapy trying to curb his Rosie O'Donnell derangement syndrome. That's her. It is flipped. So apparently, Rosie is in some tug of war with her therapist over how long she can detach from Trump. And her therapist keeps telling her, please don't go on Blue Sky and post about Trump. Don't go on Instagram and post about Trump. Take a few days off. So here's what the piece says. The Wednesday before Thanksgiving, O'Donnell promised her therapist that she would not post anything about Trump for 2 days. It lasted maybe a few hours. This is a compulsion. If you can't do something for 2 days and you try, you're like, I'm going to give up doing something for 2 days. I'm going to stop talking about the president of the United States in a country that I no longer live in for 2 days. If you cannot do that and you only last a few hours, this is a sick obsession. This is an addiction. She has to be treated like an addiction. She is addicted to Trump. Addicted. So then it says, so she tried again. She failed because Trump called the Bloomberg reporter quiet piggy. And then, she was like, well, I'm supposed to be on this Trump diet, but I guess I can't control myself. So she goes and posts about the president again. So then it says, so she tried again. The first promise broken, she made another that Friday. This time, O'Donnell vowed to not post about Trump for 3 days. She told her 1.2 million Instagram followers that she was going to try it again to not give him a minute of me. But her sign-off alluded to yet another recent Trump moment that had been eating at her. His ugly retort to a female journalist who had asked him a question about Epstein, quiet piggy. Somehow, she knew she wouldn't be able to keep this latest promise. She is sick and obsessed. Clinically obsessed and addicted to talking about Trump. It's crazy. And I think Trump is just the master rage baiter. He pokes at the right people that he knows will absolutely lose it. And Rosie O'Donnell is one of those people. For Trump, it's a fun game. For Rosie O'Donnell, it is a sick obsession that she needs clinical help for. And I have just been called to find out whoever her therapist is. I need to donate money. Maybe we can do a give, send, go or something, because whoever Rosie O'Donnell's therapist is not getting paid enough. It is a heavy fucking lift to help Rosie O'Donnell out of this, whatever she's in.
She needs a hobby. Come on, Rosie, get a hobby.
Yeah, and the hobby can't...
Learn golf, get outside.
Yeah.
Make yourself tired.
And
Don't
the
pick up your
hobby
phone.
can't be going to Blue Sky to complain about Trump. It has to be different. But how bored are you? Go volunteer. Go make Ireland great again. I don't know. She would never do that. Should we get into scrolling time? Let's do it. Tomorrow? Should we talk about Newsom's balls instead of scrolling time, or just save it for tomorrow? Save it? Okay. All right. This, I caught the immigrants' refusal to assimilate, caught in 4K. Watch this.
Nothing beats it.
So this is a woman in a hijab walking up the escalator while everyone walks down.
We've got millions of
Why?
child place holidays available.
Why is she so determined?
22 kilograms of baggage.
She's falling too. She's not successful in going her own way, going against the grain.
That was full commit.
Full commit. And yeah, I think this is just a refusal to assimilate, in that whatever Americans are doing, they have to do the opposite. They're just very determined to do that, to just do the opposite. And I played a video on this show probably a few months ago at this point And there was a guy, and he was talking about his experience at a coffee drive-thru. And he pulls up in his car, and some guy in a turban walks in front of his car and starts trying to order his coffee at the drive-thru window. And he's saying, like, we're trying to explain to this guy that, like, if you're in a car, this is the drive-thru. If you want to order something in person, go inside. But he doesn't speak English. So then it's just like, they have no interest in assimilating. They have no interest in even learning how we do things here. So they just, and they're not even learning English, so you can't even try to help them. So this is just the refusal to assimilate in 4K. That's what this is. Just like really frustrating. Like, you want to help them, they don't want to help themselves. Okay. Now, this guy said on TikTok that he's not trying to sound like a Republican, but he's just making a lot of sense. Watch this. So he says, not trying to sound like a Republican, but realistically, people aren't going to want to use public transit if they feel like they're going to get hurt. What does it say? Can you play it again? It was too long, too short for me to read. People aren't going to want to use public transit if they feel like they're going to get robbed on it. Right. So then I was reading the comment, because I see this video and I'm like, sounds like being a Republican is common sense. Yeah, people aren't going to want to take public transportation if it's not safe, right? That makes total sense. And then people in the comments were like, you know, the fact that saying keep violent criminals locked up is a Republican take is the most terrifying reality. And it really is. Like, liberals want you to live in a lawless, chaotic reality where, like, you could get stabbed, shot at any moment. That's a Republican take to not want that to happen. Crazy. Then someone said, not trying to sound Republican, but how about people with 20 plus arrests stop being released? Again, if these are Republican views, we're on the right side, people. These are normal takes, average takes. Someone else said, not trying to sound like a Republican, and it's the most sane take yet. Literally. All right, what's the next one? The ostrich. Oh my gosh. This is a video. I looked for the sort of watermark. I was like, is this AI? But this is an ostrich running from police. Watch.
Oh my gosh, this is the first time I've ever seen this.
The cop or animal control or whatever tried to grab the ostrich by the neck. Now another cop is coming to get him. There's an ostrich running across the street.
Those things can, like, run really fast.
And then I was in the comments and I said, is this AI? Like, I don't know. This would.
No, I
is
bet
that
that's
real?
Yeah. Where I grew up, there was an emu farm.
Yeah.
And I've seen that before, a handful of times.
Oh,
Ostriches running around, emus running around. Yeah, they get loose, man. Those things are.
Yeah, I've seen videos of, like, you know, cows running down the street, horses running down the highway. I mean, it happens. Yeah. But.
You've got some talons too, man.
The cop grabbed his neck, and then I think he, like, panicked because he was like, oh shit, I got it. And then the ostrich was, like, you know, trying to get away. It's crazy. Again, thought it was AI, but it wasn't. All right, this next video, I would freak out if this happened to me. There's a theme with these videos. This is a snake on the car. Snake is on the hood of the car, just slithering around. And thankfully, the women in the car are remaining calm. That's all that matters.
I hope I ran over it, did I? Yes, he fell off. Oh my God.
I would freak out because you know why? I've seen snakes in toilets. They slither into place. Like, I would be afraid that he would get into the car and somehow, like, come out of the vent.
She was going 55.
So the snake was on there, like, he wasn't moving.
That's a you know, all-time great snake if it can get in your car while you're going 55 miles an hour. I don't know.
Someone in the chat said giving women a bad name, like giving ladies a bad name. You're telling me you wouldn't have screamed if that happened?
I would have probably been unsettled, but I can't tell you how many times snakes have ran across trails jogging, especially down here. They'll run right out in front of your feet.
Yeah, I've seen some snakes on the golf course, some gators, crabs. There's a lot of like lizards, iguanas. There's a lot of wildlife
things down here.
Yeah, there's a lot of wildlife that I wasn't really prepared for. My friend, she was like, yeah, we have to be careful taking our dogs out to go to the bathroom in our yard because there are bobcats. And I was like,
my 2 dogs
what do you mean?
Had a bobcat encounter about 3 weeks ago, about 2 in the morning.
Here?
Yeah, in my backyard. Yeah, a black bobcat that jumped over our fence. For real. My dogs got all scratched up too. Like,
they were okay though?